And the White House has hailed India-US trade deal. White House says India committed to not buying Russian oil, India to buy oil from US and Venezuela. Karoline Leavitt says that Prime Minister Modi vowed investment of $500 billion in the United States, India to invest in energy, transport and agriculture. So that's the statement from the White House that has hailed the India-US trade deal, and it has said that India is committed to not buying Russian oil and it will be buying oil from US and Venezuela. And the White House has also added that Prime Minister Modi vowed investment of $500 billion in the United States.
A very good relationship. India committed to not only no longer purchasing Russian oil, but buying oil from the United States, also perhaps from Venezuela too, which we know will now have a direct benefit on the United States and the American people. And in addition to that, Prime Minister Modi committed to $500 billion of investments into the United States, including for transportation, for energy, and for agricultural products as well. So this is another great trade deal.
And my colleague Rohit Sharma continues to stay with us from Washington, D.C. Rohit, the White House has reiterated what Donald Trump had mentioned in his social media post about India not buying oil from Russia and buying oil from US and Venezuela, and that Prime Minister Modi has vowed investment of $500 billion in the United States, though there's still no statement from the Indian side on these aspects.
Well, again, I think until we have to wait and watch, I think the Prime Minister might be speaking to the Parliament today, so he might be able to clarify that. But if my memory serves me well, which what I've been saying in the past 36 hours or so, is the fact that it was at the press conference last year, the images which we're showing on television right now, February of last year, when we had the press conference where I think the Prime Minister had said that India would like to, increase the trade between both the nations up to $500 billion. Now, there was no timeline. It wasn't a direct investment. It was about taking that trade up to $500 billion, and that was the goal. So I think, again, we'll have to wait and watch what the Prime Minister says today. But I think that is what the White House is referring to. I think that is what President of the United States was referring to. And you also have to understand this, Anjali, like any other country, a democratic country, you have to appeal to your base. You have to give them certain things. And I think that's exactly what is happening. If we've seen in the past too, with other trade deals that have been announced, there has been some sort of, hey, this country is going to invest, $200 billion, $300 billion. I think President Trump also likes to talk about how much investment is coming into the United States. So we'll have to see if it was just a, play on those words, or if, in fact, India has committed to that, especially when it comes to increasing trade with the U.S. Now, as far as the Russian oil goes, I think the understanding that the administration has, again, not politically, but, in a very strategic manner, is that India would be willing to diversify the oil import. It definitely includes buying oil from Venezuela, which has been talked about multiple times. And then eventually, to a point where Americans want India not to buy anything. But that is another thing that India will have the strategic autonomy to decide what it wants to do. So we'll have to wait and watch, when the Indian side comes clean on some of these claims. But I think, it's somewhere in the gray area. I think the American side is essentially at this point in time making sure that the American citizens, especially the voter base within the Republican Party, is able to see this and also sell this as a major political win.
Right. Rohit, do stay with us. Let's once again listen into the White House statement on the India-US trade pact.
A very good relationship. India committed to not only no longer purchasing Russian oil, but buying oil from the United States, also perhaps from Venezuela too, which we know will now have a direct benefit on the United States and the American people. And in addition to that, Prime Minister Modi committed to $500 billion of investments into the United States, including for transportation, for energy, and for agricultural products as well. So this is another great trade deal.
And my colleague Rohit continues to stay with us. Rohit, is there a possibility that Trump and Prime Minister Modi officials make the announcement jointly on this trade pact?
It is absolutely possible, Anjali. In fact, we were told that there could be, again, whenever this is announced, or they could also do it. We have 6 weeks of lead time. Maybe there could be something arranged. But yes, I think I would not be surprised if both the leaders, we see a video of both the leaders getting on phone and finally announcing it, and all that with all the bells and whistles, like we've seen when India did something similar with the United Kingdom, where we had one video rolling here in Washington D.C. and other coming from New Delhi. So yes, it is possible. And going back to what I think Press Secretary was saying, if you hear what she said. She was again, I think she was just reciting those talking points that was put out in the tweet. I don't think there is any other details that she was able to share. So again, not only does the Indian side have to clarify, I think when the deals is declared as done and we see the text, I think even the United States would have to come out and again reason with what they're saying right now versus what we will see on the trade deal.
All right, Rohit, thank you for those details, but do stay with us. So that is the latest update on the India-US Trade Pact. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar is in Washington. He has held a series of meetings with Scott Bessent and Marco Rubio. And there is also a possibility of a joint announcement by the Trump and Modi officials on the Trade Pact.